broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Dominion fans. Welcome back to the AfterBuzz TV After Show. We're talking about episode 208, The Longest Mile Home. And you're home to talk about Dominion. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. Here, as always, I'm so excited to talk about this just jam-packed episode. So much to talk about. And to help me do that, I have my fantastic, lovely co-host, Jacque Borowski.
Holla.
Oh.
I think this was my favorite episode so far, although I do feel weird saying that because I feel like I've said that like 3 other times this season.
That's what you want, though.
But it's for real this time, guys. It's for real. This is my favorite episode so far.
I mean, there's a lot in this episode.
There's so much going on, and there's so many things that happen for main characters that I feel were game changers. Game changers for these characters.
Yeah. The thing that the show has done is really just every episode they've just packed stuff in, and like there's not a lot of story. There's maybe a couple storylines that I'm like eager for them to like move to the next step on, but it's not that it feels like they're unnecessarily drawing it out.
Yeah.
It's been solid. Like literally my list of like these are the topics we need to talk about is so long in this.
Yes. Yeah.
But in a good way.
Yeah. And I do like that this season, every single turn, almost every episode has had at least one moment where you're like, holy crap, that just happened. Holy crap, that just happened, you know?
Yeah, like, that just happened. I just watched Carl Bukes, a.k.a. Gabriel, make out with all the 3 lead women on this show. At once. That's if you're an actor, that's gotta be like.
I felt happy for Gabriel though, because I feel that he's been neglected lately. He's been beaten. He needed some lovin'.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's go back to where we started off with him. We were teased last week when Vaughn was in studio. If you missed last week's after show, I highly recommend you go check it out. We had a fantastic time talking to Vaughn Wilmot about the show. Gabriel is like tied up by Julian, and he's going to get. They're intravenously injecting him with drugs, and as soon as he escapes, I feel like we know like something's up. What were you thinking? I guess he's like wandering through New Delphi.
Part of me did think automatically that it was a dream sequence because it seems so bizarre that you had all these shots where you're like, okay, it's either that like, yes, he escaped and he's been like on drugs, but or it's a dream sequence and it conveniently like matches that, so that's why he's so fuzzy. And then it was weird because then Claire came in and I'm like, but how did Claire get there? But maybe this is a dream sequence, but maybe it isn't. So I felt like my mind was being played with a little bit. Which is a good thing. It's not bad. It's not bad on the show. You want to keep thinking. You want to keep on your toes.
Yeah, it's like I guess I wasn't sure like the entire time. Like I know that he is somehow under the influence.
Right.
The question is just how much. And we know the instant we see Claire that this isn't real, but we don't know like. I thought we were gonna find him still in the chair,
right?
Like right where he was left. But this actually I thought worked even better, because it was the idea that he like thought he was getting away, and they were like so able to trick him. It was great.
I also think, I mean, even if this decision from Julian was, okay, I'm going to make you think it's these specific women, I still feel that it says something about Gabriel's psyche if he imagined these specific women. So maybe Julian intended that, or maybe Gabriel just came up with Erika and Noma and Claire in his head.
Yeah, I think it was really, it was all him.
Right.
Because I don't, that wouldn't be who I would think. Like, and I think Julian would be on the same page. They wouldn't think, oh yeah, we'll match him up with Claire Ryson.
Right.
And like, that was just for some reason where his brain went to.
I find it fascinating because they're three powerful women, but they're three very different women, and it's not like they had him just I mean, we find out it's three random ladies, but it's not like they have him set up with three random ladies. It's not like they have him set up with like an 8-ball. It's the three most powerful women in the series. And I think that says something about Gabriel and how he thinks of himself. Like, he thinks highly of himself to where he would merit he would be able to have relations with the three highest powered ladies in the land.
Yeah. You know what else he needs for a good orgy, though? He needs a good quality American-made mattress.
That's a good point.
I mean, we all need a good mattress, you guys. And we're proud to thank our sponsors, Casper Mattresses. So I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, because Casper is an online retailer for premium mattresses, top quality mattresses for a fraction of what you're normally going to pay. Mattresses are super expensive. I haven't upgraded my mattress in forever because you can't. It's so expensive. But with Casper mattresses, they can cost anywhere from as little as $500 for a twin size, or as low as $950 for a king size mattress. That's a lot of imaginary women that you can have on you when you're an angel on a drug trip. And that's the great part about it, is that it's so affordable. And we can make it more affordable with a code. If you go to casper.com/AfterBuzzTV, you can get $50 off these fantastic mattresses. It's completely risk-free. There's a risk-free trial and return policy, so you can try it out to make sure that it's the right mattress for you. You can try sleeping on the Casper for 100 days. That's over 3 months of time, and you get free delivery, and there's painless returns. They want to make sure that this is the best mattress possible for you.
Well, it makes sense. You're setting a mattress is a serious investment. It's a serious investment for your life. So they're giving you the opportunity to make sure you're in on that investment.
Yeah, and they are made in America, just like anything else that's going in Vega or New Delhi or anywhere really that we know about at this show. It is made in America. It's made with latex foam and memory foam to come together for the better nights and brighter days. It's the perfect mattress for you, and as I said before, you can get $50 off of any mattress by going to casper.com/AfterBuzzTV.
No TV, just AfterBuzz.
I'm so wrong. It is casper.com/AfterBuzz. Don't put in TV; it won't help you. But if you go to casper.com/AfterBuzz, you can get $50 off your mattress, and that is a great deal. And that's really, I mean, I think in the show, what all the characters want, especially Gabriel and Julian, they're just looking for a fair deal.
They are looking for a fair deal.
Out of life.
They're looking for a fair deal in the game of life. And most of them probably do want to take a nap. I can imagine at this point. With this Gabriel storyline, what I find, I think I might have mentioned this before. In the previous season, Gabriel was really the villain, and here we have Julian as the villain. Mm-hmm. So it's a switch where we're starting to see Gabriel's humanity, and maybe we'll see more teaming up of Michael and Gabriel against Julian. I mean, that is if Julian doesn't possess Gabriel. Yeah,
I mean, at this point, I'm totally on Gabriel's side. Like he's doing some bad
brother.
Stuff. Yeah, he saved his brother. We've seen his tragic backstory where he cared about David. He has been completely humanized to us. We are 100% supporting him. And that makes it easier to root against Julian.
Yes.
Even so, we see some Julian's not like 100% evil. We know he has evil motives. But there's something, he doesn't come off as 100% evil either. And that's
he comes off to me though as more evil than Gabriel, because I feel like we've seen enough of the sympathetic side of Gabriel, and for people like me who really love the Michael character, it's hard for you to see their brother relationship and not say, oh, but they're such good brothers.
Yeah, because we see him care.
Right.
That's the thing, is that like when you see a character care about something that you can relate to, even if it's just a little bit, you will feel for them. Inevitably.
And you know what's interesting too, in this scene when, in this series of scenes with Gabriel, when Gabriel tries to take over Pete, I totally had forgotten that he could do that. I totally forgot that he could project himself and take over people like he could last season, because I don't think he's done it this season at all.
We haven't seen him do it. It's one of his like sort of special abilities. They all have like all the higher angels have certain abilities. That's his. We've seen burning 8 balls from the inside out as potentially one other one, which we will get into later.
Oh yes,
trust me. You couldn't stop me if you wanted to.
So amazing. But I totally had forgotten he did that, and I like that they brought it up again as to show that Julian thought of everything, where he can't just go out and inhabit some other body and then try and free himself that way.
Yeah, I mean, poor Pete.
Poor Pete. He gets kicked around. I want Pete to get uninhabited and be back to normal Pete.
For a moment there, Pete was double possessed.
It's a bummer to be Pete these days.
Yeah, or I guess it's Manathas. But that's when Julian comes back in. Is like he not only knows about that because he's been spying on Gabriel, he's prepared his angel army for it. And honestly, at this point, I have to think like.
And now he has the amphora.
Yeah, he has the amphora. And we'll get into how in a second. But like the fact that he has it. I have to think, like, Gabriel, like, he might be...
in trouble.
He might be in trouble. Like,
I think he's in real trouble.
I think Julian might... Like, I don't think it's many episodes before Julian does it and takes Gabriel's body. Like, he has effectively taken his mind. Like, if he can... I don't know that you can, like, push... Well, I guess in a possession, the human soul is still in there. Right. So Gabriel would stay in there. I would love to see
the actor do that. I'm obviously worried for Gabriel in this situation where I don't want Julian to possess him, but I think that's a great thing for the actor to be playing, to see that kind of possession. Just like I think for the actor who plays Pete, it's great to see him play these two different. He plays the 8-ball, but then he has played normal Pete. So it's a lot of really good meaty role. What do I want to say? I don't want to say role playing. Just meaty acting roles for these guys.
So Saeed in the chat is asking, what is Michael's special ability? I think special ability, I may have misspoken a little bit. They were each given a gift from God. Uriel was given the book that we dealt with last season. Gabriel was given the ability to control lower angels. Michael was given the tattoos. And we don't know what Raphael and potentially Lucifer would have been given. We don't even know that Lucifer was necessarily given anything at all.
But maybe he was given fire-throwing ability. Maybe he was.
He was given a fire flower.
And then he built a wicker man.
Oh, God.
He did. It's on the show.
Yeah, he really did build a wicker man. Our engineer,
Lucifer,
Steven, is
he built a wicker man.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's talk about how Gabriel gets the amphora back because of General Ricin. And General Ricin with the crazy flashback
Oh my
story.
gosh. I love, and again, Vaughn teased this, but I love that we got to see the beginning of the Angel-Human War. I love that we got to see just how terrifying and scary it was, where it's you have the officer getting possessed right in front of him, and he has to fight him, and then he steals the other officer's identity to become General Ricin. How crazy is that?
before we talk about the identity theft part of this, the effects of the possession, like, and that, like, Vaughn teased us with it, the idea of the flashback to what is effectively the time period of Legion, the movie, and what Bryson was going through that day was awesome, because we only have that, like, the movie that's, like, loosely, like, the basis
loosely
for this
tied into this.
I mean, it is, but, like, it's also sort of, we're just, like, sweeping it under the rug in a little bit of voice. But to see what really happened that day, the idea of the angel souls, like, coming in and, like, taking over, and the one where it, like, bounced off a guy, like, he like fought it off, like, he was, as a human, was strong enough so that it, like, the reason why, like, some humans made it without being possessed is because they were just strong enough to survive, which is a great answer, because if they're just, like, raining down from everywhere, it begs the question as to why, like, you can't just, like, infect all the people in Vega or stuff like that. But that, to me, that quick little moment answered that question.
Yes. And I love that they choose an actor who you would believe to look like General Rison, but they used the actor of old General Rison's same voice. I love that.
They used Alan Dale's voice, right? Like, it was dubbed over.
Yeah, it was. I loved that effect, because it is weird if you go back into the past and you have a flashback and the actor kind of sounds different. On The Strain, it's nice because the actor who plays one of the younger characters changes his voice to sound like the older character. So in this instance, it's perfect because you just have the same exact voice, and it's easy to just buy, okay, this is Rison.
Yeah. Excuse me. I mean, there have been some times where it pulls off. To me, the best example ever is Looper.
I've never seen Looper.
Looper, you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing a young Bruce Willis.
I remember that. Actually, yes, I did see that.
I saw that and was just like, that man should win an Oscar.
Yeah.
But it's not like Joseph Gordon-Levitt as his character. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Bruce Willis.
Yes. Yes.
But that, like, that, it worked. But the idea that General Rison is not a general at all. Like, the whole basis for why he's leading Vega is just all BS. Which,
I actually think that, not that you should steal people's identities, but I do think that it gives him almost more authority looking from an outsider in to say, this guy was tough enough to basically, like, take history by the horns and just, like, ride it. Yeah. He saw an opportunity and he took it, and he knew that he had to do XYZ to survive. And I think for me, it almost means more that he just sees the moment for himself than if he was just, like, a general that, like, did everything by the book and they had appointed him to this position. He really did earn his place, and he really did create his own system.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about what the idea of, like, thinking that far ahead in the moment of, like, the world has gone to hell in some ways, literally.
Yes.
And he has the forethought to shed off his persona of just, like, effectively the accountant of the military. He's a civilian.
Right.
He's not even in the military, but to take that general's uniform, it changes his path, because anyone who sees him in that is just gonna assume.
Yeah.
They have no reason to doubt him.
And we know he's been studying history because he's made fun of for studying it, but he said those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And then I can't remember what he said after he fought the guy and killed him, because I do remember in my head, I was like, oh, that's another defining moment for him. But now I can't remember what the exact line was. If we have anybody in the chat roll who can remember, that would be awesome.
Which line was it?
When General, soon to become Rison, kills the 8-ball that is attacking him in the office.
Deception is the key to victory.
That's what it is. And then you think you have later on in the scene, he's made another choice for deception. So not only in that little instance he deceived him in making that 8-ball think he was weak so he could overtake him, but then he has another deception of pretending to be a general.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you got to read Sun Tzu. Just in case there's an angel-based apocalypse, like, you know what to do, and you'll be the head of entire dystopian Las Vegas.
I do like the idea that the well-read, the well-learned man is more prepared than the guy who's just like, you read, that's dumb and terrible.
I'm gonna put my cigarette out on your work that you're, like, hearing probably is important to, like, the
right?
operations of this base that we're on.
Guy who dies so quickly.
Somebody said, I can't find the comment. Somebody's like, that's what you get when you mess with book-loving nerds.
That's awesome. That's awesome. True.
But I love that stuff. And then in present day, by the end of the episode, Ricin is now a dyad.
Yes. Because he's dying, and
Clementine,
maybe
Clementine.
Maybe Clementine, maybe not Clementine.
I was buying it less and less throughout this episode. What do you think about Clementine by the end of this?
It's hard for me to buy it when you think that Clementine keeps encouraging him to tell where the location of the amphory is. It didn't strike me as the old character of Clementine would have done that.
Yeah, I mean, if everything she said...
But the problem is she knows so much about him, so you're like, okay.
But does she?
Right.
That's the thing. It's like, I listened, and, like, everything that she said... more or less Julian could have pieced together from what he had said just talking to either Ricin or to Alex.
Right.
Because after he learns that Alex can evict someone, it stands to reason. Like, the rest of that, like, the eviction thing with her, and I think Alex even said something about that. Especially, I think he definitely said something to Ricin.
Right.
So, even if Julie wasn't there, he has ears everywhere, as we learned in this episode. He even knows Gabriel's power. So we probably overheard what Alex said to Ricin. None of it was anything between the two of them. There was nothing that...
Like, maybe if she mentioned, like, the jewelry box or something.
Yeah. She mentioned nothing that had not been discussed in one form or another at New Delphi this season. So I still don't think that she's actually Clementine. It's just the
motives for me are not enough. I feel like if Clementine really loved him, would she really be encouraging him to get the amphory and encouraging him to mold with another body that's not his own?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, this is the interesting thing about the dyad, and Julian is sort of enticing him with, "You'll still be you. You'll still be 100% General Rice." It's like, no, hold up, no, he won't be.
No,
there will still be General Ricin in there.
Yeah,
but there will be 50% the personality of this angel, and I get that a dyad, much the way that Julian is Julian and Leray. It will be it's not either one. It's
both.
It is.
Yeah.
It's something that's hard, I think, difficult to wrap your head around. Right. But it is both. So the wants will combine, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. We don't know whatever angel he's gonna put in there.
Right. What
wants?
What their personality is, and
what are they subservient to? Ricin? Like, ooh. I said a
like, if they're subservient to Julian, then it's like he set up a perfect minion.
Wild prediction. What if it's Manathus? Like,
which one was Manathus?
Pete.
But I thought by the end of the episode, Manathus was still in Pete.
Yeah, I'm out of order on that. All right, it was a swing. I don't know if you need to be a higher angel to be a dyad.
Oh, to be a dyad? I would think maybe you do? Question mark? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you would have to.
Because, like, wouldn't you have to? Because otherwise it's just an 8-ball.
Well, no, because an 8-ball is the angel. Like, mind is 100% the angel, or like 95% the angel, with like a little bit of the human leaking in. But a dyad is 50-50.
Yeah. So
I don't know. We'll have to see like next episode who General Rison becomes now. I expect, just because I don't think the writers are doing anything by accident, that it's not just going to be a random, like, it's an angel and now he's Angel Rison.
Yeah.
This is going to be someone either close to Leray, somebody who has a vendetta against Gabriel and or Michael, or God himself. Like, I think that the choice of the angel to make Rison a dyad was very deliberately thought out by Julian.
Yeah, very strategic.
Meaning he would have to, because the instant he becomes a dyad, here's the amphora, boss. And we'll have to see what he does with that.
Alex, all your work was derailed. All of it.
Everything that you did
means nothing.
Is for naught.
Everything you did means nothing.
Noma, sorry about your wings, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, not being able to fly or have any of your powers anymore.
But Noma and Alex now, it turns out Lucifer, or the man in the yellow hat. I know it's not a yellow hat, but the hat is like the man in the yellow hat's hat. So Lucifer, a.k.a. maybe Lucifer, the man in the yellow hat, has been protecting them this whole time.
Protecting... Oh, yeah, because he was keeping people from getting in.
Yeah, he's protecting Alex and Noma. And then he told them to go east.
Yeah. He told them to go east. So, east would be Helena, I think, right?
I assume so.
Because Vega, I'm pretty sure they went... I don't know why I have this picture in my head. For some reason, I imagine that New Delphi is east, like like the middle of the country. Vega is obviously Vegas.
Right.
And then Helena, I imagine being on the East Coast. I don't know why. I don't remember if there's evidence to that. Like, I saw a map at some point. But for some reason, that's where I have it in my head.
No, I like that.
So, at this point... Okay, Alex, Noma, Michael.
Yes.
Teams back together.
I'm so happy for that.
Yes.
I'm so happy for that.
Thank you. I know, I'm glad to get Michael back with Alex. I think they need to be together again. Like, them being apart worked. It was definitely something that was effective storytelling-wise. Like, them being apart and coming back together was a great journey. I'm ready for them to go off and be this, like, father-son team sort of thing.
Right.
I don't mean that literally, even though there's a maybe for that. But the potential, like, that relationship is great, and I'm excited to see more of it. I do have a question about where we opened on Alex and Noma's storyline. They're standing there as the guy's chainsawing the door open, right?
Yeah.
Alex has all the time in the world. Like, he's standing there doing anything. Why didn't he evict the chainsaw guy?
He stopped trying to do evictions, which he should be doing.
I wonder if they're trying to imply...
It's your job, Alex. You had one job.
You had one job. Save the human race from being possessed by angels
God
who have
gave
taken
you
over
one
90%
job.
of the planet. Yeah.
One.
At least one that you can interpret.
Right.
And you've interpreted that one, so at least do that. Michael has then seen the burned before, and we start to get...
It's the same thing, and this is where you and I are feeling good, because we're like, oh, that burning thing was the same thing that happened in Mallory.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of who this guy turns out to be,
whoever's protecting them is protecting Mallory.
Very clear that this man is the prophet.
Right.
Regardless of whether we're right that it's Lucifer or somehow it's Raphael, even though Raphael's a woman. They're angels.
Right.
Genders are loosely defined, maybe. Regardless of who that is the prophet.
Yes.
That much especially when Michael just goes, I've seen this before.
But then, this is what's interesting to me is, in the end, I know we haven't talked about William Will yet, but in the end, when he's preaching and telling of his story where he gets saved, he says like a light came down. Didn't a light came down and like take out so like somebody who was trying to like mug him or kill him or something? And it made me feel like, is the prophet protecting William Wheel as well?
It's a very interesting point. And before we talk about William Wheel, because I want to like transition to that, but somebody was saying they think Helena is in California, which I guess could also work if it's like San Francisco.
Yeah.
That could work.
No, but how's that east?
But that's not, well, that doesn't mean that Helena is where he means to the east. What if Mallory's to the east?
That would make sense, because isn't Mallory like Alabama or something?
I don't know.
Right?
We've sort of like, we've never really gotten a clear, I think this is what's becoming clear, is that we've never gotten a set idea of, other than Vegas, where any of these have fallen. Except the base is supposed to be...
I think there were fans who know of like an actual, I think they know of like an actual real life location of Mallory that I think is somewhere in the South. I thought maybe Alabama or something. But
so
again,
that
it's like
adds up.
I don't know if that's the case or not. Like
Okay.
I don't know if that's where that's supposed to be.
Regardless, supposed to head east. We'll see what that means. But the question that you pose is, was William Wheel protected by
the prophet?
The prophet.
By the man in the yellow hat.
And this is the William Wheel, like he comes in. I had a question about like how he got into the city, because he said it, he's like told the guard like, there is for me, I'm William Wheel. How does Claire not get a phone call like, hey, your dead husband's here, you might want to come see this,
right?
But regardless, he got in, and then he immediately goes to a bar, can't get a drink, so he kills the guy who calls his hands buttery.
You kill somebody for money so that you can then buy said drink in said bar.
Yeah, he shouldn't have called his hands buttery.
Jeez, that moment for me was I was like, WTF? Although we did know that he was part of he was the leader of the Gabriel acolytes. So we know that he has been like torturing and doing bad stuff before. So I don't know why all of a sudden I was like so shocked by the scars. This quick, it was not by the scars, but I was so shocked by the quick death. I was like, you really robbed a man for money and murdered him. But that's consistent with his personality, so I guess that makes sense. I also like how, like father, like son, they're so close in personality, whereas they butt heads all the time, and they don't want to admit that they are. But the apple does not fall far from the tree. Whereas David was a preacher, William at the end of this episode is preaching to them, and he had like he was a church leader before. Yeah. So
I mean, this is the thing that is. When he goes through that speech at the end, he talks about the things that he's like, 6 horsemen, which immediately I was like, oh, wait, 6. That's the wrong number. It's like
they were 8 balls on horses.
No Sleepy Hollow crossover with this one. Still would be better than a Bones crossover.
Still would be better.
There's a blinding flash of light that filled the sky. I am here to cleanse the evil in your troubled hearts. And he says that he, meaning God, is not gone. And anyone else, he's like, anybody else who tells you that is a liar.
I just find it interesting that the people in Mallory are always saying God is protecting their town. And this is the same thing we're hearing from William Wheel, is that God had protected me.
Yeah,
God saved me.
He's still here. He revealed himself to me. A light came down from the sky. So, if the light came down from the sky, light...
Fire, maybe.
Translates to fire. I get that. So we're dealing with at this point, like, it's just, is he lying though? That's my big question. David Wheel would 100% be lying.
Right.
He would not hesitate to spin a yarn about how he miraculously survived, even though he was attacked by 8 balls on horseback, trying to steal his 3 strips of meat and 6 bullets. And he escaped because the Lord is here and to protect you. Follow me.
I do
your
find
money in the bucket.
Yes. I do find it interesting that just as Zoe falls, we have William Wheel step into Rise, because you can't have the conflict just be David versus Claire. You have to kind of have that extra like chaotic element, because Claire for the most part doesn't seem to be strong enough to fight David. There always needs to be this extra like extra element in there.
Yeah. David is a master manipulator.
Yes.
Like, say what you will about him, he is a master at controlling people.
Right.
Even when he has nothing. He has nothing
Yes.
but his name and his words. And he still manages to take the very
Just like
people
his
he
son.
abused and create an army out of them. Mm-hmm. And so let's... David and Zoe, Claire... Let's just talk about David and Zoe.
Yes.
They had their own insanity.
Well, we have that like double, triple cross happen too in this episode.
I told you, Zoe. I told you. You don't just shoot him in the hand. He doesn't need hands to kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, like
And he's very open with her. Like they basically admitted to the other person, when this is done, I am going to try to kill you.
Yeah, which I like that idea, like, because that's very much like, yeah, in a rebellion, like, factions break off, and
Right.
even though you're working towards the same goal, people know that, like, these are a little bit more clearly divided than I think you might find, but, like, you would have, like, 2 of the leaders of a rebellion, like, and then, like, I have my ideas about what should happen when we're done, and I have my ideas about what should happen when we're done, and once you get there, those differences then explode into Civil War Part 2. But Rosario Vampire says Zoe should have shot David in the legs instead, or shoot him in the head, and then you're done with him. Like, once they started the Civil War, I feel like you're like, yeah, you don't need this guy anymore. Like,
The only
if you're
problem,
aware...
the only problem is we'd have no storyline without him.
That's fair. That's fair. And also, we wouldn't have Anthony Head running around.
Right.
And we can always use more Anthony
Yes,
Head running around.
it's true.
But
So we have Gates listening in to Erika's correspondence with David, and Claire kind of knows this, so she gives the order to say, okay, attack the armory. So they think from their intel that they're attacking the armory. They really go to get the food, but then they come back and do an attack on the armory while they're confused and wondering why they didn't attack the armory, so their guard is let down.
Yeah, this was a smart way
It was actually a really good plan.
Yeah, really good way to play it, except for Gates, like, leaving his drink unattended. Come on, Gates.
Oh, man.
Date rape is a real
mistake.
thing. Put a coaster on it.
Rookie mistake.
Um,
and she did it so
yeah.
obviously, too. She was like, look, I'm pouring this in front of you.
Not subtle at all. But
Bad.
other than that, great plan, because rather than... He could have easily just arrested her right away.
Yes.
But rather than do that, they used her to also win a decisive battle
Right.
in this war. Like, they
Yes.
took back the food.
Right.
Like, once you get back the food supply, like, the war is, like, all but won at that point. Unless, of course, there's an army of 8 balls waiting and ready to come and attack you. Small details.
Yes.
Small details. But so, is there anything else you want to talk about in this episode? I think we hit...
David leaves Zoe wounded, and the biggest scene to me was, like, this is a decisive turning point for Claire, and the actress who plays Claire was so good at this.
Roxanne McKee.
She did such a great job.
Claire was real angry.
Yeah, they took Zoe to jail. Claire comes in, and I'm here thinking, and I did love the character of Zoe, and I always wanted an alliance between Claire and Zoe, so I'm hoping for that. I was like, okay, I get my moment, I get my alliance. Instead, we see Claire just shoot her in the face.
Like,
And
that
I was like,
shocking.
that was shocking. And Roxanne McKee played it so well. And I'm like, this is bananas. Because A, it's just a bad move. It's a bad, bad, bad move. Because I know David took some of the followers, but if Zoe still has followers, you just set off the revolution, basically. When you make someone a martyr like that, you set off your revolution. And unbeknownst to her, Gates is probably dying in the other room, so she's losing another trusted advisor, and she knows she can't trust Erica. So what are you gonna do, Claire?
Yeah. Erica and her 2 tall, statuesque lady assistants.
Right.
Which she just, like, has, like, one beautiful woman, like, giving her advice, and then she, like, brings in this, like, tall redhead.
Another beautiful woman to take the mail.
Tall, beautiful redhead. Deliver my message to David for me. We can't trust the radio. So, okay. With that, let's move into some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. So in next episode, it looks like Julian is going to finally pull the trigger and attack Vega. Now that he has his amphora, he has his army, he knows the whole deal, and maybe he even does so as Gabriel. We don't know.
I'm predicting, I haven't seen the previews for next week, but I'm predicting this is the point where Erica actually flees the city, and I think that Claire will be in a really vulnerable position to a point where a revolution, like a real revolution, might start because of what she's done.
Yeah, I mean, I think David, when they find out that Zoe is dead, David is going to use that to really make this a big battle. And right in the middle of that, the Julian's army, which we see charging into Vega in the preview, that's when that's going to happen. And what we also see in that preview is that Alex, next episode, is going to return to Vega. And Claire, like, you see like surveillance footage, and Claire's watching Alex? Like, right as her new boyfriend, our love rhombus, the love rhombus is getting very bent out of shape now. Because if Gates does die, that'll complicate everything. Her Noma, who just lost her wings, all of that. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I am genuinely so excited for this week's episode. I cannot wait. Until then, Jacque Borowski, where can people keep up with you?
My website, 123jackieb.com, has my Twitter, my Instagram, and my web series, Words, Wine, and Women.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at That's Zach Wilson, THATZACHWILSON. Thank you to everyone in the chat roll. Linda Milks, Chaos 13212, and Saeed, I think Boo 69 Bees. All you guys, Coughed 2009, everyone watching, everyone in the chat roll, everyone that tweets at us throughout the week, do so. Use the hashtag ABTV Dominion. You guys can also catch me on the Strain After Show and a bunch more that I will be talking about very soon. Guys, I'm Zach Wilson, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.